400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. I am in slippery when it comes to my drive mode. I am on winter tires, and I am in one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth to drive. What is up, Internet world, and welcome to Accelerate. I am in beautiful Banff, Alberta to take a look at the new, refreshed 2025 Ford Explorer. And I'm here on a ski trip with my son, and thanks to Ford Canada for loaning me this for the whole week. Now, it's been beautiful weather, and this is the final day, so I've had this all week to test, feel it out, and see how versatile it is on my little ski trip. Now let's get back to the Explorer, shall we? So for this refresh, you have all new headlights, and it's tricky because when I first saw them, I'm like, cool, the DRLs are on the bottom with these little lines, but they're not. They're actually just like a shiny silver, and it's cool because it looks like it until you look a little bit harder and realize the DRLs are right up top. And the shape of this headlight is not just rounded. It has like a cut, a little ledge here, and then it continues onto the headlight, and it gives it more of a dynamic, aggressive stance, because that matches the grille. And the grille has satin, chrome satin actually accents, and more ebony all the way through, which is piano black in vehicle manufacturing marketing lingo. Now, what's interesting is that this Ford logo is blue, the original one, but inside on the steering wheel, it is actually all silver. Now, this is the Platinum. So the Platinum, you get the 3-liter that makes 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. And that makes sense because look at this front bumper. It is massive, it is aggressive, and it is sporty. And when you think Platinum, you don't think sporty, but because you have the big engine, you get this nice, big, aggressive front bumper. Of course, you do have fog lights here, and this has all the safety systems you need. So you have your front camera, you have your radar, and all the rest of it, because when you're driving, it keeps telling you, ding, 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 watch out, stay on the lane, there's a car in front of you, pedestrian, all kinds of stuff is in your Ford Explorer Platinum. Now let's whip over to the side. Now, I've always liked the style of these Explorers, just in general. They look boxy, aggressive, and muscular. And it's no different with this 2025 refresh because not much has changed. Now, these are 20-inch wheels, and they do have winter tires on them because obviously we are in the snow, the crispy, crunchy snow. I would like a little bit taller winter tire, though. I feel like these tires are just a little bit small for the vehicle for some apparent reason. Now, on the wheel wells, you have these plastic fender flares to take the abuse, because Explorers generally do take abuse. They are a family vehicle, they are a 7-passenger, and they will always get beaten in some sort of respect, whether it's from the kids, the driver, or just random people driving Explorers, because when you have a household and you have 2 or 3 vehicles, you're usually going to give the keys to Explorer because it's pretty versatile. It makes enough power, it's roomy enough, it can take a beating, parts are fairly inexpensive, but anyways, more about the aesthetics on the outside. You do have a camera here because it does have 360 camera. You do have outside handles. They're not flush in any way. But when the key's in your pocket, all 4 doors allow you to lock the car. You simply just walk into the vehicle, you pull the handle, it'll unlock, or when you're leaving it, you simply just touch your finger there, it will lock it with the keys in your hand. in the 2025 Ford Explorer Platinum with a V6 that makes 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. I am in slippery when it comes to my drive mode. I am on winter tires, and I am in one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth to drive. This is so nice. So if you guys have never been to the Kananaskis area, it is sort of between Calgary and Banff. This is the Canadian Rockies, and it is stunning to drive. And I had two choices to pick. Ford was like, do you want the Ranger Raptor or do you want the new Explorer? And I'm like, I want the new Explorer. And it is good because you can put, again, all kinds of gear in here. It's comfortable, it's quiet, it's smooth, and it is just a really good test to take this thing out. Oof. Man, amazing. It's great balance. And with this 12.3 inch screen, it gives you all the display you need. It's rich in color. I don't really use this 13.2 inch screen much. I really just use this screen in front of me, this 12.3 inch all digital display. And I use this wireless charger. It's like right there for me. But in terms of the drive, good steering. It's funny because when you're on the highway and you're turning the steering a little bit, it's got this typical Ford kind of turn momentum. But when I'm out here actually using the steering wheel and being engaging with it, it does a really good job. Wow, this is stunning. This is beautiful. Now, I'm on a father-son trip, and my son does not want to be on camera. He was fine when he was younger, but now he is just hiding like most teenagers do. Now, these are frame doors. They are not frameless. Whoops, all our ski gear is falling out. All right, come on, backpack, go back in. Anyways, you do have roof rails. Sorry, let me get back to this one quick second here. Now, because these are not flush, what happens is that when you get a lot of snow, crispy ice, they do kind of stick around here. Now, I do wish that they would make them flush. That way the snow would just fall and not actually be in the handle, or it's underneath. I wish they changed that design. Now, it's been like this forever. They're probably not gonna change that anytime soon. Maybe on the new refresh they'll change it, but I don't like the way the handles are sort of protruding out like the traditional way. Now, as far as blind spots go, there is this fairly large, you'd call it a C-pillar. It is fairly large, but it's not the worst. I mean, you do have blind spot indicator. The mirrors are a decent size, but I did notice that at times I'd be like, oh, is there a car there? Is not a car there? I'd kind of accelerate and see my other two mirrors, my rear view mirror and my side mirror, to see if there's something there. But then you have this big glass here that you can clearly see the driver. So I guess maybe it makes up for it. Yeah. Now, under this center speaker by Bang & Olufsen, I do have this one-piece trim that says Explorer, and it wraps around the 13.2 inch display. Underneath that, I have two decent-sized vents, a start and stop button, a bunch of buttons here, physical buttons that I can hit, like stability program, your four-ways, and of course start and stop, and then an actual volume knob. And if you're wondering what this is, it's a shelf. Yep, it's a shelf that houses a wireless charger. But it's strange because it has two spots for your phone, but only one wireless charger. It would make sense to add one here for it. Underneath, I do have a little parcel shelf or a tray. I lift this up, this little panel cover, and then I have a lot of storage down here with a USB, USB-C, and then a 12-volt cigarette plug. When I close this, I have where I shift my gears, of course, park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then an L for a low button, two good-sized cup holders, an electromechanical parking brake, and then drive modes. So when I hit this button or turn it, it gives me a bunch of drive modes. I've got tow haul, sport, eco, normal, slippery, and then of course off-road. And it gives me a fancy, cool display on my driver's info right there. So let's take a look at the back of the Explorer. Not these beautiful mountains behind me here in Alberta. Now, we are about 30 minutes from the British Columbia border, so when I say Alberta, it's also almost British Columbia, because BC does have beautiful mountains as well. Now, the back of this Explorer, I do have a fairly aggressive upper rear spoiler. They're not flat, it is a little bit bumpy here to give it that more aggressive look. I have these larger canards left and right, and that's to reduce drag, to improve fuel mileage. And this averages 10.9 liters per 100 kilometers just the way I've been driving it. It is on the screen right now, and I've gone through a full tank, driving fairly aggressive, and that's pretty good for a 6 in my opinion. This does make 400 horsepower again. Now, you do have a third brake light, you do have a wiper here, and of course, this is a little bit changed up here. You have these taillights that are fairly aggressive. They bump out a little bit to give that width on the vehicle. It says Explorer right here, and also says Explorer on these taillights. Now this tailgate is made from steel. It is not plastic or aluminum. I could be wrong though. It does have a platinum right there. It does have four-wheel drive, because this is four-wheel drive, because in the US you can get them in two-wheel drive. And if you're wondering what it tows 5,600 pounds from this winch here. And I do have all my outlets. I have the 4-pin there, and then of course the 7-pin on that side. And I do have this little silver valence on the bottom to give it that sportier look and not just make it flat like some other vehicles. So all in all, that is the exterior. That is the exterior of the Explorer. Now the interesting part though is, in order to pop this trunk, you can do it from the key fob, but you can also do it from a button. And I'm so used to having vehicles that the button is in the center, but no, here you have a rear view camera. The button is actually on this side. It's on the right side. So let's see how much space you have inside. Now, we're obviously traveling, and I do have two fairly large suitcases here. I have our ski gear on the right hand side here and a backpack. Now this is a 7-passenger, so underneath this blue suitcase there is 2 more seats that you can lift up to have more space for people. And this is a full power tailgate, so when the key's in my pocket, I can simply press this button, walk away, and lock the vehicle. So I will just simply close the tailgate here. It makes the beam, 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 and voila, the tailgate closes. Now there are 4 different versions you can get. You can get the Active, the ST line, the Platinum, and then the ST. Now the Platinum, you can opt to have the standard motor, which is a 2.3 liter EcoBoost that makes 300 horsepower, or you can get this, the V6, that's the same one that's in the ST, and that one makes 400 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. So the first 2 ones, which the Active and the ST line, both have the EcoBoost 2.3, but this specific Platinum does have the V6 in it, and I highly recommend it. Unless, of course, you want to really care about fuel mileage, then the 2.3 makes sense. But in terms of like engagement and excitement, then definitely the V6. I just got a ton of power here. Back seat of the Ford Explorer. Now, you can get 5 different interior colors on this Explorer. You can get light space gray, ultra dark space gray, black onyx, Mojave dusk, and salt crystal gray. I would normally remember that, but it's way too cold for me to do so. Now these seats are very comfortable. I have changed many times in these back seats by putting all my ski gear on, so I can tell you that they are comfortable. The door panel has a lot going on, lots of different colors and stuff, and it does have sunshades. So you of course have your sort of purpley color which matches the seats. In vinyl on the door trim, you have the Explorer accent piece here that you have on all 4 doors and the dash, and then you have this sort of like grayish, brownish, greenish trim here, and then of course some stitching. But you do have some storage. You also have a cup holder, a bottle holder on the bottom. You have a cup holder up top, of course something to pull the door closed, and then some more storage back here in the door panel. So there is a lot of good use on this door panel. Above, I do have a vent here. There are no vents on this front center console. There's a vent up here. There are 2 map lights, something to hold all your clothes, essentially, or jacket, and then a handle here just to get in and out of the vehicle, and of course holding it in case the driver is a bit of a maniac. Lots of good visibility. I like how the seats are sort of shorter here, so I have good visibility seeing out. I do have a nice big panoramic sunroof. It doesn't go all the way to the end, but it's almost there to give me that nice big open airy feeling. Now these seats, they can recline slightly, not a lot, but enough to sort of give you a decent comfortable ride. And if you're wondering how these seats fold forward, well, there's simply a button on either side. I push it and then this thing comes forward, and then I can slide it over, and I'll show you that in a minute. Right here I do have a sort of an armrest with 2 cup holders here. This does fold down, so you do have 3 different areas that you can have the seats fold down. Sort of a 40 maybe, or 30 30 30 sort of vibe, or 30 35 35 30. Can't remember the math, but it's good enough to put this down and have your skis come through like you have here. Now you can see your 7-passenger is right here. You just pull this and those 2 seats come up, and that's what the 7-passenger looked like. Now there's a lot of stuff back there, so let's talk about this 13.2-inch screen. This is what it looks like when you hit this button, so you can see all your different widgets. This is of course a Ford Canada vehicle, but you can slide up and down and see all the different things you can have on this. You've got all your Google stuff like Maps, Play Store, and Assistant. You've got YouTube, Spotify, Bluetooth audio, and of course, Android Auto, along with Apple CarPlay. Then when I hit this button here, your home button, it gives you this display that you can change. You can have your maps here, you can have your audio app here, you add a phone, and then this button here gives you sort of quick buttons. So your ambient lighting, your seats, your settings, your hill descent control, and of course a fancy picture of the Ford Explorer. And if you're wondering how to put the trunk up, you do have a physical button, but I can hold this button here and it opens up the trunk and gives you that display. Last but not least is a center console here. It says Explorer right on top, just in case you didn't know what vehicle you're traveling in. You do have HVAC controls. They're not digital. They're simply just a slider that goes left and right. You have your heat and your fan speed, and there's a lot of different fan speeds you can pick from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 different fan speeds. That's a lot. And you can choose where you want the air to go, on your head or on your feet, because you do have vents up top and on the bottom. You do have 2 increments of heated seats on the left and the far right. Nothing in the middle, but the middle guy gets to plug in an inverter like I'm doing here to charge stuff. So you do have a plug, a 3-prong plug. I'm only using 2 of the prongs, but voila, it's there. And you have 2 USB-Cs right next to it. And underneath, you have another cup holder thingamajiggy where you have 2 cups. Front seat of the clap, refreshed Ford Explorer. Now there's a few changes, most notably this 13.2-inch screen. It is rather large and everything kind of goes through it, but don't worry, there are some physical buttons here left. The seats are typical Ford. Ford does a very good job of just putting a ton into their seats. They're, first of all, very comfortable. These ones are called Mojave Mist, and part of the Luxe package, you get platinum on the seats, this little like decal that you see. And then you also get perforations. They have this triangle or diamond design, as you see. They are micro perforated, and they are, of course, heated and cooled. Now, the other thing that they have put in this new updated platinum is this Bang & Olufsen center speaker. Yep. On this side and that side, you have a little Bang & Olufsen logo, but the center speaker is right here. It has 14 speakers in total and 980 watts. Now, let's get back to the original way we do these reviews and door panel time. There are 3 increments of memory seat for 3 different drivers in your household. Everything is here, all your windows, you can fold your mirrors in. Of course, all 4 windows are up all the way and down all the way. You, of course, have a ton of storage just like you do in the back seat. This is a full digital display in front of me, like all new Fords. On the left-hand side, it tells you your RPM in decimal point. The right-hand side, it tells you your speed. And in the middle, pretty much everything you need to know with your new Ford Explorer. This is the steering wheel, and on the steering wheel, you have enough buttons to play with. On the left-hand side, you have your cruise control, your volume control. On the right-hand side, this adjusts your music, your audio, and every single menu you need to use by hitting this menu button here on your display in front of you. Now, what I also do like about this steering wheel is that it's small. It is not a bus whatsoever. Now, I know I'm driving a 7-passenger vehicle, but it's fairly small to hold. And there are sensors here just to make sure I don't fall asleep on the wheel. Tell me to wake up. It'll go ding, 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 all kinds. And when I do open the door to get in the car, there is a nugget hiding right there. And when I'm looking out of this windshield, there's another nugget right there. But come on in and let me show you some more details on this center console. Now, in terms of its competitors, you have the Toyota Highlander, you've got the Chevy Traverse, and the Honda Pilot. Now, all 3 of them make way less power than this specific 400 horsepower version. They make anywhere between 285 horsepower all the way up to 380 horsepower or so. And they cost kind of the same money, around the $55,000 range, depending how you stack them up in terms of options. In terms of the aesthetics, I don't really like the way the Pilot looks. I don't mind the Traverse, and I do like the way the Highlander looks, but I find that this is the best looking of the 4, essentially, and those 3 are kind of the best. Now, this camera that you're watching is kind of moving left to right, and it's because I am on the Osmo, and I haven't locked my face, so I'm moving left to right, make it more dynamic for you guys. But in terms of choice, what would you guys pick? Would you guys like this? Do you guys like the Pilot, or do you like the Highlander? I wouldn't really talk about Traverse. I'm thinking if you're buying domestic, you probably want to buy this. Unless, of course, you're a GM person, then hey, there's the Traverse. Foot on the ground. So that's my review on this 2025 Ford Explorer Platinum. Big shout out to Ford Canada for loaning me this vehicle for the week to test it, take it to this beautiful, scenic place called Banff in Alberta. So if you guys have never been to this part of town, let me know in the comments below, or this part of the world, let me know in the comments below. And also let me know if you guys prefer this Ford Explorer or its competitors like the Traverse, the Pilot, or the Highlander. Anyways, we'll catch you guys on the next one.